Okay, I think we're live. It says we're live. I'm Alex Mondosian, and I am hanging out from my office in the San Francisco Bay Area in California. That's the United States. I don't know where you're hanging out from. We have our friends from India, from South Africa, from parts of Europe, even Germany, Austria. My guest today is in Austria, in the mountains.
Oh, I'm in Germany right now.
Oh, you're in Germany. Okay, well, she's in
Yes.
the background. You can't see her right now, but she lives in a couple of places, and this is her first time that she's being interviewed by me. And the reason for that is for her and her partner, Dietrich, they have been with me for 18 months, and now they are ready to launch a brand new business that she has been doing for years, but has never done the marketing part of it. So this is my way of introducing her to you, and I'm hoping that it'll be very beneficial. And watch both from the marketing side and from the discipline side of what we're going to talk about, because it is a healing discipline. It's a discipline that you probably haven't heard of. It works, and it works in a very unique way. And it's called SHEMI. Now, some people may pronounce it SHEMI, but you'll find out all about it in a moment. Right now, all I want you to do is do what you're used to doing. If it's your first time here, then just type in your name on your keyboard and the city you are hanging out from. And our production manager, Sue Sierra, will welcome you as you go through the process of doing that. And it'll be in the chat. Now, right now, for the first 15 minutes, we're on Webinar Jam, which is the application we use and have been using for nearly 4 years. And at 15 past the hour, no matter what time it is where you are, it's about 13 minutes from now, I am going to be on Facebook Live with my guest, Alexandra, who is the person I'm interviewing and who is coming out for the first time internationally as a world premiere for this new discipline that I want you to see how it evolved and how we're launching it for her. So this is the first of many interviews that she'll be going through. And what I want you to do now is just put and share the video. It's a video frame at marketingonline.com/Friday Live. And at 15 past the hour, you can invite people to come to your Facebook pages. You can invite people to come to your Facebook member groups or your profile or your fan page or fan pages, and they can watch this from there versus coming to me. So I do this every single week in the first 15 minutes. No one else is watching publicly except for all of you. And you know who you are because you're here. And it's only from my list. So there's a couple hundred people watching live. And then what happens is we have several thousand that watch publicly on Facebook Live because of the power of the networking effect on Facebook. So simply go here right now. You can listen to us in the background. Go to marketingonline.com/Friday Live. And then when we do the countdown, it will be live and it will be there on a recorded basis. So I'm going to invite Alexandra Kleberg, who is in Germany right now, not in Austria. Many of our students already know you because you were you were in the Push Button Influence course with Dietrich, and you've flown all the way here in my office, and we've done our consulting together. So give those who may not know you a little bit about your background so you can practice of what's about to happen in about 10 minutes.
Okay, so it's Alex and Alexandra, and I used to be called Alex, and it's a male name, so I'm glad it's Alex and Alexandra now. I am a licensed psychotherapist. I've studied psychodrama, I've studied behavior therapy, I'm a Jungian psychoanalyst, and I've worked in a private practice. I worked with clients for almost 40 years now, and I've collected healing stories, healing images, healing exercises as a Jungian psychotherapist from all over the world and throughout time. And I've collected them and I have translated them into a modern language. And right now I'm teaching this to groups for the last, let's say, 10 years. I'm coming from group psychotherapy. I worked as a group psychotherapist in a clinic for some time. Then I started one-to-one therapy in a private practice, and now I only work with groups every day. So what I do is I teach them self-healing exercises, techniques, images, embodiments. And I have a very special group approach or psychotherapeutic approach, which is centered in a happy, healthy, fulfilled professional life or a happy, healthy, fulfilled private life. And this is the center, and this is the path, and this is the goal. So my main work is teaching and training. And this I say to most of the people who ask me who I am and what I'm doing. And I've written 7 books now on self-healing. It's my favorite subject, and I'm collecting exercises, images, and healing stories from all over the world right now. And for me, this is the treasure chest of mankind. And I want to fill it up with even more experiences, because I think if everybody on this earth knows how to self-heal, I would like to seed it as a grassroots movement. So this will bring people back into their power, into their dignity, into their strength. So I'm in projects teaching this in schools or kindergartens. I would like to teach it in businesses and in retirement homes, because it's our innate power. Life is healing, and healing is life, and healing is a mindset, and it's our natural state of mind. That's what I believe.
Okay, now as you're listening to Alexandra, and I'm Alex, of course, what I want you to think about is, what does this have to do with marketing online? Well, there are many experts in the world who are very good at what they do, but because they lack the marketing skill and the marketing knowledge, or maybe the marketing tools, they don't get their message out. So if you're a coach and you have a special type of coaching modality, or a life coaching structure, or executive coaching structure, if you're a consultant in the area of health, if you are a yoga instructor, or maybe a doctor, an acupuncturist, a holistic healer, psychotherapist, psychologist, if you work with other people and teach them to heal, whether you do it with couples or individuals or groups like Alexandra does, many times you will be in the midst of a roadblock between getting your message out to the public and knowing how to do that faster, better, and easier. So Alexandra and Dietrich, who is her partner, hired me to help them through that process and assist them over the past year and a half. It was supposed to be a year, but we're going extra because it's necessary. And we launched a website, which I want you to go to. It's called evisionpublishing.com. evisionpublishing.com. And there's a lot of robust information there in the area of healing. Her primary language is German, which was another barrier because she doesn't feel as comfortable going to the English-speaking countries like North America and other parts of the world, where it's her secondary language. And because of her accent and being on video wasn't as comfortable with her as in German. So you're going to see an evolution and the growth that Alexandra has gone through over the past year and a half. And as our consulting arrangement is completed, and whether or not we continue, which we can, but I'm going to give it a break for a little bit, I want you to see the evolution that's possible from someone who's really good at what they do in their business, in this case, the area of healing, and then turning that to start working on their business. And if they did it by themselves, it probably would have taken them a lot longer.
Years, centuries.
Maybe centuries, maybe future lives. And it's not because they don't know what to do. It's just difficult to do it without the experiential training. Now, let me tell you the model that she was taught, because if you are in the same situation, perhaps you don't have to pay me $100,000 to give it a try. Now, if you want my direction, then you can do that and we can discuss that, but that's not the intention or the topic. The topic is, what is the model we work with in order for Alexandra to kick off this discipline that very few people know about, but have that has incredible power for the people that she works with in her vicinity. She wants to get it out to the rest of the world. And so it's the same model that I did and worked with one of their colleagues and one of my other students and clients, Iris Hubler, who was in New Zealand, also German descent, and that was for the Superfood Academy. And here's the concept. So there is SHEMI, the healing discipline for the client. Okay, not so much the patient, but the client. And then there's SHEMI, the certification for the professional who wants to add it to their business because maybe what they have is not enough to make a living, or they want to increase their impact, their reach, and their income. So what Alexandra did is she created a SHEMI certification course to certify the practitioner, which will show you the application. If you're you consider yourself a candidate, you can take a look at it. She is she's handling the deposit that she would normally take for the application, and she's willing to do a one-to-one discovery session with you, whether or not you're ideal for certification, just so you see the process from a marketing perspective and possibly a professional perspective. And then for those people who get certified or go through the certification course, then they're given a white label, which is your ability to use the training curriculum for clients, just like Iris did with her Superfood Academy with health coaches. So the model is the same, where you have a certification and plus another course underneath it. So you don't have to wait centuries or years or decades to create your own course. You can do it through the 40 years experience of Alexandra, and then the certification gives you an additional business opportunity. That's the model we work with. evisionpublishing.com is where you can go and check it out. And it is going to be exposed to the rest of the world as a part of this process. Now, we have 3 minutes to go. Alexandra, would you like to add anything to what I just said? Because it's the work we did together, and you have a lot of content.
Maybe you always talk about SHEMI, and SHEMI means self-healing by embodimental imagination. But I think the new thing, it's not just another healing techniques, it's a system. It has a base, a foundation, it has tools, it has attitudes, it has values, and it has a 9-step process. So I would rather call it the SHEMI system. And it integrates all sorts of other systems and techniques and tools. So it's a self-evolving system. Please call it the SHEMI system.
Okay, I will call it the SHEMI system, and that's why we have this. That's why we have this green room in the beginning, so we can get that out. Let me give you where the application is, so you see the process of her getting certification candidates. Now, for the first round, I'm only allowing her to do 12, so that she has that beta, and it's priced accordingly. But you can take a look at it at marketingonline.com/SHEMI. And of course, it's the SHEMI system. It's the intake. It's the application. Look at the questions, the way they're structured for your own business. And then if you think as a coach, as a healer, as a psychotherapist, as a yoga instructor, as anyone who would like to add this to their marketing mix, when you finally find out what it is, how it works, and who it's for, then please go ahead and apply, because she has lifted the deposit to do a one-on-one discovery session with her. So this is where you go, marketingonline.com/SHEMI. I'll give that also during the the Facebook Live event. We'll be starting in 1 minute. And we're going to start by doing what I always do, and keep introducing yourself. As I'm talking, I want to get to the content, so that's why I'm not acknowledging you as you're coming in, but keep introducing yourself, and Sue, who is in the background, will be acknowledging you as you come in, and you can see the link of where to go, because you get that in advance in front of other people. And this is really Alexandra's test and her practice session, because she'll be doing a lot of these interviews, because this is her coming out party of introducing this to the rest of the world, utilizing the power of social media, utilizing the power of virtual presentation like this video that you're seeing on Facebook Live. It'll be on LinkedIn. It'll be on other channels. And so this is the beginning of something very, very big. And I just wanted you to look at it. So let's do our countdown. Here we go. And we do this so that we can start on Facebook. 3, 2, 1. Stand by, stand by, stand by. Now, the reason I do this is that you turn up the volume because on Facebook, mute is the default. Are you ready? We're going to get started. Here we go. My name is Alex Mondosian. Welcome to our Marketing Online Friday show. Today, we have a very special story because it's the coming out party. It's the grand opening to a project that has been 40 years in the making. Now, when I introduce you to my guest, you're going to wonder, how has this person been doing this for 40 years? Because she doesn't look like she could be doing it for 40 years. She looks very young. And the reason for that is because of the discipline. I'll let her introduce herself, but the topic is about a system, and it's an acronym. And her primary language is German. In fact, she is in Germany right now, broadcasting this through the miracle of Facebook Live. I'm in California in the United States, and the acronym is SHEMI, SHEMI. So we're going to hear her story. She's been a client for over 18 months, and now with her new website, along with her partner, she is going to spread the word to the rest of the world, and it is a grand opening, just like the iPod launch, just like the iPhone launch. This is a launch within the healing modalities that is different. It's a certification that she has, and it's also a modality that anyone can benefit from in any walk of life. So I want to introduce you to Alexandra Kleberg in Germany. Alexandra, you can say hi to the tribe.
Hi, everybody around the world. I'm very happy to be here, and I thank Alex that he gives me the opportunity to talk about my vision and my mission in this life.
Now, this is very relevant to you, whether you're in business, as a coach, as a service professional, even if you're in financial services and in a non-related discipline. Listen carefully, because there's a marketing component, how someone who's not good at marketing, it's not her primary skill. She's very good at working in her business, but now she's going to work on the business to get exposure, visibility, and marketing reach, because without exposure, you don't have a business. And so it's not just the discipline that she's teaching and certifying other healers and practitioners and therapists and coaches, but it's also the process of teaching them how to do it so that more people get access to it. So let's begin with, before talking about the SHEMI system and what it stands for, tell me about the specific incident, about the work that you do. When did it happen? 40 years is a long time. And
Yes.
so what originally happened to do the work you do? And I want you to introduce yourself from your background, because you can do it far better than I can.
Okay, there is an old wisdom saying that there are two paths to transformation, and one path is suffering and the other path is love. And since I like to play with words, I call it one path is loss and the other one is love. So I won't tell you an incident. I will tell you two stories, the suffering story and the love story. So most of my life, I was looking for myself. I was looking for answers why I'm on this earth. What is my mission? What is my vision? And this movement helped me to study psychology. I thought there I would find the answers. And I also studied anthropology to find even deeper answers for this question. So I became a clinical psychologist, I became a psychodramatist, and I worked with groups in the clinic for a long time. And after a while, I wanted to open up my own private practice. And in Germany, it's that way that you can only work for the German health system if you're a behavior therapist or a psychoanalyst. And behavior therapist was easier, so I did that. And this didn't fulfill me. It wasn't deep enough for me. And so after I finished this exam, I started doing study psychoanalysis. I studied at the Jungian Zurich Institute. It's the mother institute of Jungian psychology, and I became a Jungian psychoanalyst. And during that time, I got 3 children. And when you have a family in Germany, it's a little bit difficult to work with groups, because groups usually take place on evenings and on weekends. And I wanted to save that time for my family, so I reduced and worked on a one-to-one basis full-time. I work full-time as a psychotherapist now for almost 40 years. And so I worked with singles therapy mainly for 5 years, for 10 years, for 15 years. I had 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clients a day. Of course, as a young psychotherapist, I worked with mythology, I worked with visions, I worked with dreams, I worked with symbols, but most of the time it was problem-oriented. The people came with problems and I were discussing the problems. I felt I put them on a deep mythological level maybe, but it was still problem-solving therapy. And after years and decades, I felt tight, I felt worn out, and it even affected my family life. When I came out of my practice after 10 hours or so, I didn't want to talk about problems anymore, and I didn't want to have problems anymore. And I didn't want to see movies with problems, and sometimes I even didn't want to talk with people anymore. So this was, at my young age, excited me very much to be a psychotherapist. In later days, it wore me out, and I felt I was tied up in a golden cage. I couldn't live my potential. I couldn't live my creativity. I was just mainly mirroring problems. So I tried to break out. After 10 years, I studied interior design to just live something more beautiful. But always like a JoJo, it always brought me back to psychotherapy. And then something happened. I broke out another time and I opened a health business and I failed with that. I lost a lot of money and I had a divorce and my mother died, who took care of my 3 children a lot. And so there I said I had to earn even more money than before, and I felt worn out, and I said I can't do this psychotherapeutical work now for the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I said, this will just kill me in some way, right? So I thought I have to do something else. And on my career as a psychoanalyst, I was looking for mythology on healing, on exercises, images on healing, and I've collected them for 10, 20 years. And I was interested in neuropsychological research and what does the body help to heal. I was in a lot of workshops, in a lot of seminars that had to do with healing, with self-healing, with transformation, with joy, with happiness, and so forth. And after this crisis, and it was 3 losses, this was a loss of money, it was a loss of my ex-partner, it was a loss of my mother. So loss is a path to transformation. I sat down and said, I want to do something differently. And I remembered that I actually was a group psychotherapist and I took my exam as a certified group psychotherapist for the German health system, and I started working with groups, but on a different level with all my self-healing images, exercises, and stories. I tried a new approach to group psychotherapy, and it was more joyful. It was brought people back into their pride, into their power. And I was less than a therapist then, but maybe more like a teacher or a trainer of self-healing. And I taught them exercises, images, stories, and people had to practice them. So SHEMI means self-healing by embodimental imagination. So they had to embody these images, and it was a really cheerful atmosphere. It was authentic, it was energetic, it was creative. And I loved again what I did. I felt more like a creator in a creative field. And people of the groups, they filled up this, I call it the treasure chest of mankind, of healing stories, images, and pictures. And they filled it up even more. And my deep longing was to develop a system where I can get more out of it than I put in. That sounds ridiculous for a rational mind, but it does work. Like if you plug into an electric plug, it's just a very simple movement and you get lots of energy out of it. And it's a little bit like that with the group system I developed. So this is the suffering part of this story, of this transformation. And now comes the love part. During that time when I developed this, I re-met my first boyfriend. We split apart when I was 18. We thought we would find something better, and we did find something better, but it took 35 years. And he immediately caught insight in what I did. He even used the exercises and images and healed himself from symptoms. And he got fascinated by this method. He empowered me, he helped me. And there was a very specific incident through, let's say, transformation by love. I had written my first thick book on self-healing. It's very thick because I discuss quantum physics, I discuss Jungian psychoanalysis, I discuss neuroscience and the power of imagination. So it goes deep into research and deep into mythology. But I wrote it in a more associative, intuitive way. And there are healing exercises, images on every page. And I thought, well, people could just heal while reading this. And a lot of people, they gave me good reviews. And there was this one manager, this woman manager. She was very structured. And she said, oh, this is nothing. It doesn't have a structure. I need first, second, third. I need a structure to inspirit my self-healing. And I was a little bit offended by that. Everybody likes good reviews, right? So one night, Dietrich, my last boyfriend and my now partner, he invited me to a restaurant, and I was a little bit upset, and I complained about the complainer and said, this won't work. You have self-healing, which is creative, which is intuitive, which is fantastic, and structure, that doesn't work. That's opposing each other. They don't go along with each other. And this structured person wants even more structure. That will kill her. And I was a little bit upset, and he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. He just let me get my emotions out, and he looked into my eyes, and after a while he said, how about if you give them a structure for self-healing? I said, it doesn't work. Self-healing is creative and structure is not creative. And he said it again. He looked into my eyes and said, how about if you give them a structure so they can loosen their structure? Structure to lose a structure. I felt dizzy. I felt fuzzy. It doesn't fit with my mindset. And it took a while, and he said it again, why don't you give them a structure for self-healing? And then I had an image. It's like a river that flows in a riverbed, and the riverbed is a natural structure so the river can flow. So I thought, after a while, I said, what a genius I have as a partner. What a bright idea. And I thought about that. I dreamed about that. I thought about that. I dreamed about that. And then it came to my mind, and I built up a structure for self-healing. And so this is the love part of the story. I built up a structure for SHEMI. And before this interview today, I thought there is another part, and it's another story. My partner Dietrich, he's coming from business. He is a successful businessman. And he says, well, you should materialize your self-healing approaches. You should bring it into the world. That's what I always wanted to do. I have a vision, but I didn't know how. And I'm not the marketing type at all. So he got into contact with Alex Madushin, with you. And he said, can you coach us for that? And Alex, he said, yes. And so this is the materializing part of this. And this morning I thought, I'm a Jungian psychoanalyst, and we work with archetypes, and we work with archetypical structures. And one deep, deep archetypical structure is the rite du passage. It's a transformational ritual. And the first part of it is loss. And the second part is just visualizing or visionalizing. And the third part is materialization. So I thought, this is great. So we have these three parts. I lost, and I made up a vision out of love, and you're the part who materializes it onto this earth. And I thank you very much for that.
Well, you're welcome, and let's get started. It's the SHEMI system.
Yes, it's a SHEMI system.
Materializes as SHEMI.
Yes.
Not a lot of people know about it, but
No.
you're coming out with not only a certification, but who the ideal recipient is of this healing modality. So for both business side of this interview and for the professional and skill set side, what does SHEMI stand for? And go into detail on how it works.
Yes. Okay. SHEMI stands for self-healing by embodimental imagination. So it has at first two pillars. One is imagination and one is embodiment. And research proves that you can change, that you can transform by imagination. And it also proves that you can transform by embodiment. And it goes vice versa. They relate to each other. They sort of confirm each other. So once you implant an image, you have a body reaction. And once you have an embodiment, you also change your mindset by that. So there are two pillars of SHEMI, self-healing by embodimental imagination. But there is a third one, which maybe I created. And it goes back to Carl Gustav Jung. Carl Gustav Jung said, people need the symbolic life. He said, normal people lead a normal life. They walk, they eat, they sleep, and it has nothing fantastic, nothing mysterious around it. And he says healing is when we are part, when we play a role in a divine drama. And this quote, symbolic life, I sort of translated into my language. And so I have a third pillar, which I call imaginational embodiment or embodimental imagination, which means that you have both at the same time. You have embodiment and imagination. And I like to give you an example for that. Like Alex, you listen to me, like Alex. And right now your subconscious programs work how you relate to this interview. And all the other viewers, they just watch it, and unconsciously they are programmed onto if they like it, if they don't like it, if they say it's crazy or they say it's intelligent. So, but you can sort of guide it how you watch. For example, an example would be for embodimental imagination that you watch this like a king or a queen, right? And once you put on your imaginative crown, your spine will sort of grow a little bit. Maybe you also grow about 1 centimeter, half an inch. And you might feel more dignity, you might feel more strength, and you might have a certain attitude which is different from the attitude where you watched this video 1 minute ago. So this could be an embodimental image you implant into the body and which changes your mindset, how you watch this interview. Or just to give you another example, you can have this tool, right? And you watch this maybe like a cheerful child, which is very good if you watch it with this attitude. Because once you get cheerful, your body produces a hormone or a cocktail of hormones. One is dopamine, and this dopamine helps you to learn this just easily. Dopamine helps you to get into a new mindset. So it's a very good way to watch something with a nose, with like a clown, like a little child, or like a wise old man or woman. So these are two examples how you can watch a video, or if you want to have an erotic contact with a video, you might feel like a young man or like a young woman. You might feel like 17, 18, and then there will be another view on this video. So maybe this gives you an example of self-healing embodimental imagination.
Okay,
so
those are very good examples, and I love the props. I can't wait to see if people are going to use screenshots of that, especially of the red nose.
As a marketer, I get very, very much money for those. They are from China. They're very cheap. And people, after a speech, they give me 10 US dollars for one of those, or they want to buy them for their whole family, and they give me $20 for those noses. And I put them onto our nonprofit organization account. So you really get much money from these noses.
Okay. Well, I'm going to watch now as a mentor and ask you to relate the SHEMI system. How does it work for the end recipient? So you have certification that you're now launching so that you can magnify the impact and get more exposure through other certified healers, which you're conducting for the very first time worldwide, outside of Germany and throughout the rest of the world. But how about let's say the end recipient who is wanting to heal? What and how does that SHEMI system work for them through you or another certified practitioner?
Let's talk about this system, because maybe this is important too. The system means it's not only tools or exercises, it has a center, which is a path, which is a goal. It's a happy, healthy, fulfilled life. It has an archetypal space with 4 archetypes that are rooted in human evolution and rooted life. And with those go for values, for attitudes, and it has this 9-step process. So it's an open system, and what is very special is that it is an evolving system. It's an evolving transformational system where every new idea, every new self-healing story, every new experience, it enriches this treasure chest of mankind. So very welcome for the certification are doctors, people from the medical background, like acupuncturists, homeopaths, Ayurveda doctors, chiropractors, people from the psychological background, psychotherapists, psychoanalysts, behavioral, psychodrama, gestalt, dance, movement, singing therapists, trauma therapists, from coaching, wellness advisors, health coaches, relationship coaches, family coaches, or people that come from wellness like yoga, tai chi, qigong trainers, EFT trainers, Reiki, shamanic healers, energy healers. So all of those are very welcome because they can contribute to the SHEMI system. They can put in their own exercises, their own healing approaches, so that will enrich the system, and it will evolve throughout time.
So the type of the ideal practitioner can add this to their existing type of discipline they've already studied with, maybe through their own certification or PhD or master's degree. This is another certification that they can add to it through your instruction. Is that correct?
Yes, it's win-win. They add to SHEMI and SHEMI adds to them, to their practice.
Okay, great. And this is collaborative because SHEMI only raises the tide of all the boats or all the skill sets they have. It's not just another boat bobbing on the harbor.
It's like they are all rivers that flow into the ocean, and SHEMI is the tide because it's deeply rooted into human life and human evolution. It's the tide that raises them all up.
Okay, now as the tide, what is certification? So there is no certification except for what you have created, and you are introducing this now for the first time, now 18 years into the 21st century. What is SHEMI certification about for the practitioner, the psychotherapist, the yoga instructor, the acupuncturist, the holistic healer, the hypnotherapist, the voice therapist, everyone that you had noted a few minutes ago? What does that certification look like? Because it doesn't exist except for you.
Yes, it is online webinars, about 100 of them. They're about 15, 20 minutes, and sometimes they are every day, sometimes they are twice a week. And it's 2 live seminars to get a feeling for group work and group atmosphere. And in the online webinars, they learn the basic of SHEMI, the values, the tools, the attitudes, the research, and then they go into a 9-step self-experience of the SHEMI process, of this rite du passage for self-healing. And in the next step, they learn how to teach those 9 steps. They get the tools for group work. They get the tools for being an inspirational, motivational leader. They get tools how to work with so-called difficulties, which I call challenges or chances. And after they've passed through that, they can start their first SHEMI group. It's a 9-step process. They need probably 12 group sessions for that. And afterwards, they write a little thesis on their experiences, on a healing story. And then there will be another live event where we celebrate the SHEMI certification. So this will be a big overview about the SHEMI certification, and it lasts about a year.
Yeah. Now, as far as any certification goes, whether you're certified as a coach or you have a doctorate in psychoanalysis and you do psychotherapy, just like Alexandra does, this discipline is different, which is why it excited me. Now, Alexandra and Dietrich, her partner, they're clients of mine, but they wanted an initial platform to get this out, not only to the business community, but we have many therapists and healers that are on this show. And she has invited, along with Dietrich, many people who are watching this show for the first time on Facebook Live. So the first question that comes to mind, because in a moment, I'm going to give you access to how to get together and get on a discovery session one-to-one with Alexandra, if you think that this is a good fit to explore without any cost, without any deposit. But how is SHEMI different than the other disciplines? Because it's a tide riser. It's not another boat in the harbor. We mentioned that. How is it different?
As I said, it's not a method, it's not a tool, it's not a techniques, it's a system. It's a system with a center, with archetypical atmospheres that are rooted in human experience, in evolution, and it has a process. So it tries to bring all self-healing exercises, images, and stories from all over the world together. You know, there are hundreds and thousands of healing images around the world and throughout time. Yoga has some, Tai Chi has some, psychoanalysts has some, behavior therapists and some, Ayurveda has some. So it's the ocean where all these healing flows dive into. And this rises the tide, all this knowledge, all this experience. And SHEMI is collects the treasures of mankind. So there is not one exercise for one diagnosis or for one client. So you have a pool of exercises, of values, which are very important for self-healing. And it's fun, and it focuses on health, it focuses on joy, on happiness and fulfillment. It doesn't focus on diagnosis, it doesn't focus on clients, it focuses on happiness, on health, and it uses the wisdom of the body and the wits of the mind and the love of the heart so people can learn how to self-heal. Even children in kindergarten can learn that.
Well, the best part, which fascinated me, because I like to become a representative or a source of energy and skill and a teaching faculty for the little guy and little gal in the world who maybe you're not a coach, maybe you're not a psychotherapist, maybe you don't even have a bachelor's degree from university, but you want a new business opportunity in helping others to heal and at the same time healing yourself. Because with certification, you get the actual course and curriculum of how to apply it to clients and how to get new clients. So in a moment, I'm going to give you a very special address. First time ever, we're putting it to the public because Alexandra can't afford in time and in effort to do one-on-one discovery sessions for the rest of the year. But at the beginning of the year, she has made it in her power and has cleared her calendar to do it at no cost because she also wants practice in finding the right certification candidates to come in to the first circle of 12 people that go through this process, then 24, then 48, and then 96, and so on and so forth, advancing geometrically. In 5 years, who knows how many practitioners there will be. But I know for a fact, with absolute certainty, you will be the only certified SHEMI practitioner if you feel it's a good fit. Now, in about 20 minutes time, there's a video that explains all of the practitioner and certification training. So it's not a matter of her evaluating if you're the good fit. You get to evaluate if you're a good fit by watching the video and completing the intake, just like a doctor's intake, or maybe for a dentist, a chiropractor, anyone in the health and wellness or medical profession. There's an intake or an application to talk about and write down where you are right now. You're point A, so you can be evaluated in what's keeping you stuck. And this is a business opportunity, but it's a healing modality at the same time. So there's two benefits. You get to heal through the self-healing process with structure that gets rid of structure, as she said, thanks to Dietrich. And also, you get the opportunity to make money from it or give it away if that's what you like to do. So I'm going to give you that the special domain in just a moment. But let's go back now and just talk about on the business side, because we've done coaching now for 18 months. You've developed this certification process. The website is evisionpublishing.com. evisionpublishing.com. I'll give you that address as well. It's listed down below wherever you're watching. And I want to know your takeaways. What are your aha moments that you may have gotten from this? Because it may have been a surprise for a new type of topic as we enter the new year of what the first exposure or grand opening to the ongoing visibility and reach that Alexandria is going to have. You're seeing the beginning of her certification process, which is a launch. It's the initial process, and many people watching may invite her to be on their podcast, on their show, with people who are coaches, with people who are healers, more specifically, versus the business show that I have every Friday that you're watching right now. You may be watching on another day of the week on the replay, but this is a launch or a grand opening that's a very, very soft enrollment to the idea. So I'm going to put up the URL where you can go and watch the video and complete the intake if you feel a calling towards this. But Alexandra, how do you evaluate the ideal certification candidate? What qualities do they have to have? Because they don't have to be a coach, although it's ideal for them. They don't have to be a psychotherapist and the other vocations. They can start from scratch because you give them everything they need and they'll get certified within a year. But what do you look for?
I'm looking for people who have a deep longing for a happy, healthy, fulfilled professional life, who are ready to get enthused, who are committed, and who really like to join this vision to seed self-healing all over the world and seed it as a grassroots movement, because I believe that if every child on earth knows how to self-heal, if every person knows how to do that, it will bring them back into their dignity, their pride, their strength, their creativity. So I also love people who just want to join this vision and participate in that and enrich this treasure chest of mankind, either with an own healing story or with healing stories from other people.
And every healing story is what we call in business a case study. There's a problem, there's an action, and there's a result. And the result doesn't always have to be expansive. It can be contractive as well. That leads to another result, just like love and suffering is how Alexandra began with the two stories in the beginning. Here is the URL, very special, first time ever. It's marketingonline.com/SHEMI, marketingonline.com/SHEMI. That will redirect to her video. Take time to watch it without a mobile phone ringing, without Facebook, without email coming in, without voicemail, without any distraction from the outside. Just take about 20 to 25 minutes to watch it, to study it, and decide if it's a good fit for you. There's no cost, and you will be eligible to have a one-to-one discovery session with Alexandra for yourself as a certified practitioner, or perhaps as someone who wants to get the result. of SHEMI without having to leave your home. This is done virtually. It's a distance learning process, and that's what makes this very, very unique. Now, Alexandra, you had told me at the beginning that before we even came on live that you had a special gift for everyone watching that you wanted to introduce. So I'll leave it to you. I'll write down your main website so that they get the proper spelling. But why don't you deliver that and tell them what it's all about? Because I don't even know what it's about.
Okay. I've working in the months before the New Year's Eve with my groups on decision. Everybody decides something for the new year. They want to quit smoking, they want to lose weight, they want to do this, they want to do that. And they have a lot of decisions and visions for the new year. And at the time now, most of them have dropped the decision and continued their daily routine. So usually people think, at least that's how I was taught it, to follow a decision with Prussian discipline. And this doesn't work in the way I teach. So I give you some ideas how you can materialize your vision with self-healing by embodimental imagination. It's just maybe two-minute exercises every day, and you do them for 21, for 42, for 100 days, or for a year until this vision or this decision becomes fulfilled. So when you have this decision, you make a vision out of it. And a vision is maybe a little inner movie, it may be an image, it may be even something you make like a collage until you can see it, you can hear it, you can smell it, you can taste it, until it becomes essential experience. And you implant this vision in your body, and the best time to implant it in your unconsciousness is when you go to sleep. Like these old programs we have, they are programmed into us when we were a little child, and the brain of a child is in a mood called trance. It's a trance brain, and their programs get written in very, very deeply. So if you want to change old routines or old programs, the trance state is a good state to implant new visions, new decisions. So while you go to sleep, that's a state of trance. You see your vision, you feel your vision, you hear your vision, you smell it, you taste it, and then you see this vision in the womb of the night you weave it through your dreams, so your unconsciousness will work on it. So that's the imaginary part of it. And once you wake up in the morning, you just embody this vision on your way to the toilet. Everybody, I think the first step you go in the morning is to the toilet. Germans do it, I do it. So probably Americans or Indians or whoever do it the same way. So you get up as if this vision, this decision has been fulfilled at all. And you might feel, I give these symbols again, you feel like a queen or a king. You walk with your dignity to the toilet and say to yourself, I'm the queen of my life. I'm the queen of this kingdom of 60 billions of cells. I am the king of my life. And you get empowered by this. So you walk to the toilet either like a queen, or if you like the nose, you walk cheerfully like a child and you say, I made it, I made it, I made it, I made it. You jump, you enjoy, you celebrate it. So it's just this 1 minute to the toilet. You sit on the toilet like a queen or like a king or whatever. And then, and that's also very important, you flush and you let go of all the shit that comes into the way over the day. So you do this little exercise, you seed it into the womb of the night, into your dreams, and then you embody it just on your way to the toilet, and then you let go, which is also very important for SHEMI, to let go of old stuff, of the shit of our lives, so it becomes the fertilizer of our tomorrow. So you let go of the shit which might get into the way. So that you do just for January, February, March, until your vision has been fulfilled. Okay? So this would be the very, very little present.
So I would call that purging that vision, right? And
What is
whatever
purging?
purging, yeah, purge. So whatever form it comes in the,
Okay.
I wasn't ready for that, but it makes a lot of sense. And if you want to learn more about it or get a hold of Alexandra, because she's covered a lot of new or this is ancient information presented in a modern way, then you go to evisionpublishing.com. Just click around. You'll see links there. Scroll down on the home page and click around. This is what they have developed, and you'll see a lot of resources there. And if you speak German, there are additional resources there just for you because, of course, that's her primary language. All right, going back to you, Alexandra, you may be meeting people who are watching right now or sometime in the future. Marketingonline.com/SHEMI. Watch the video and conduct and do the intake. It'll take about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how well in touch you are with the questions. And it is a practitioner intake. Okay, it's not to be a client of SHEMI, but it's to become a certified practitioner of SHEMI. And this round of what she's evaluating, Alexandra, is 12 people. And so if you're one of those 12, we want to hear your success stories because this is the initial launch, and she will be on lots of other interviews like this, from podcasts to virtual shows to traditional television and radio. So be on the lookout for her. And Alexandra, I want to go back to you as the final word. What would you like to say? Because my job here is done and yours is about to begin.
How much time do I have?
3 minutes.
Okay, so I close with a healing story. Would that be okay?
That would be okay.
So it's a success story. I had a person, I call her Heidi, and I've written about it in a book. I was a co-author with Joe Vitale. It's Heidi's story. And Heidi came to me with thyroid dysfunction, and she was on 40 years of psychiatric medication, and the thyroid didn't work anymore. And they gave her medicine for it. And she got diarrhea and allergies for it. And they gave her another medicine for it, and she got diarrhea and allergies for it. And they gave her the third medication, and she got diarrhea and allergies for it. And one time she said, "My body can't take any medication anymore." And the doctor said, "Okay, if you don't take medication, you will die within 3 or 6 months." So with that, she came to my group. That was about 7 years ago. And in my groups, I work with healing images, as I told you, embodied healing images. In one group session, we talked about Heidi and which healing images would take her body. And I usually ask, do you have had healing experiences or joyful experiences in your life? And she said, no, my mother wanted to kill me, my father abused me, and then I took this psychiatric medicine for 40 years and I didn't feel anything anymore, so there is nothing I can remember. And we discussed it with a group, we imagined, and she said, actually, I need a new life, I need new parents. And we thought of, well, that's a good idea, why don't you take new parents and just get a caring mother and a strong father. And she left the group with that suggestion, and she came back the next week and she said, oh, I found a mother and a father on a television show. And she said the name, I don't remember it. And she said, it's a very caring mother and a very strong father. And I said, does it feel good? She said, it's a very caring mother and a very strong father. And so the group said, okay, take them. And she embodied them to stand behind her. Sometimes they went in front or they were at her sides. And they embodied these new parents with every step she made, with every breath she took. And she came back the next week and she said, oh, Alexandra, this is strange. This is not real. And I said, of course it's not real. They are from a television show. And she said, yes, it's not real. And I said, it doesn't matter. Imagination can achieve everything. With every image we guide our body. We are guiding our breathing, our heartbeat, our biochemistry. So I just told her to keep on doing this. And she came back the next week and she said, it's still a little bit changed. And after about a month, she said, oh, they are nice parents. They are wonderful. This mother cares for me and this father is very strong and I feel very warm and I feel stable within their energy. And so she kept on working with these ideal parents that came from a television show. And she did it a week, a month, a lot of months. And maybe after half a year, she came into my group and she said something very important happened. It was the first time in my life I talked with my real mother. And I didn't feel offended. I didn't feel suppressed. I didn't feel criticized. I had this caring woman behind my back. I had this strong father behind my back. And I felt secure. I felt safe. I could have a normal talk with her. And this really touched me very much. And she felt safe with these new parents. And the body heals when it feels safe, when it feels secure. It doesn't heal when it is stressed, then it has other things to do. It feels when there is peace inside. And this was one step of healing her thyroid. There are more layers of it, but this is one step really impressed me with these imaginational parents. And I really like to thank these parents. I like to thank Heidi, and it still touches me very much. And now her thyroid functions for 80%. And it was a 6-year process up to now. So this would be my last word. Thank you for this self-healing treasures, images, exercises, and stories that mankind and history of mankind offers us.
Well, even Hippocrates said, to paraphrase him, all healing is self-healing, ultimately. Yes. So this is what you're teaching. And on behalf of Alexandra, the SHEMI System and evisionpublishing.com, and Dietrich, her partner, this has been the soft launch to the certification program that I hope you participate in, or tell a friend of a friend or a colleague, a family member, if they would be an ideal fit for this, because it's a very special certification and it's being driven and led by a very special person you've gotten to meet for the past 45 minutes. I'm Alex Mondosian. This is Marketing Online Live, and I hope our paths cross again next Friday, same time, same place. Please go to marketingonline.com/SHEMI, watch the video, put aside all the distractions, and then decide whether that intake and application is right for you. There is no obligation to move forward, but there is an obligation for you to complete it and then get on a discovery session to find out where you are, if you're a good fit as a candidate for certification of SHEMI system. And in your area, wherever that may be, both virtual and physical in your hometown, you will be the first to be able to spread that message with Alexandra's leadership. So all good wishes. I hope our paths cross again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Hang on. So that's the Facebook Live, and very good. It's our first interview. How did that feel? I think you did really well.
Yes. I like to talk, but in English it's a little bit difficult, but I like to bring my message over to the people.
Yeah, well, you did very, very well. I love the story at the end. I like the gift too. There's shit and there's urination too. So there's two types of purging. So we can talk about that in the future.
Okay.
But I liked it because, life is circulation, the body circulates things. So there's, the inflow and the outflow. And I don't think I've ever heard of a process like that, but it makes a lot of sense. We're still on the webinar jam. This is the internal group. And would you like to, say anything to them before we close? Because those of you who are watching right now, please type in your big takeaways, your ahas. If there was a distinction that you discovered, both in business or in your personal life? Do you think self-healing is possible? Do you think that you can overcome whatever roadblock you're facing? Are you in transition right now? Most people are in transition of some kind. Are you battling some sort of an uncertainty that requires healing? If you believe self-healing is possible, or you have just 10% belief in it, then by studying the SHEMI system and by staying close with Alexandra at evisionpublishing.com and her partner Dietrich, you will have a new perspective on life and in the way you handle roadblocks and challenges, as she calls them. So please type in whatever distinctions and aha moments that you've had, your big, any big or small discovery that you learned something new from this. I'll turn it over to Alexandra now to say final words to the internal group and anything that came up for you that you like to share with them, because now we're off of Facebook.
I am really looking forward to work together to develop this system, to grow this system with people who are enthused, committed, and who have this deep longing for a happy, healthy professional life, and to bring this vision onto this earth, to seed it into this earth as a grassroots movement, and to put in their experiences into this treasure chest of mankind. And they can, it's a very, very abundant chest, so they can get out whatever they want to have or whatever they need. And I'm really, really looking forward to this process materializing this vision.
Okay, excellent. So am I, and I'm glad you joined us. I hope you found this fascinating as we move into the new year. Happy New Year. And I hope, again, our paths cross again next week. And reach out to Alexandra, evisionpublishing.com. If the certification part is not right for you, you'll see other things there that could be right for you. If you have children or you have friends who have children, she's also an expert in that realm as well. She has children's books that are available, or you can just reach out to her and you can get ways in contacting her at evisionpublishing.com, just like it sounds.
And I have 2 books which get published pretty soon. It's Healing Every Day by Boa Press, and our book 9 Steps into the Wealth of Health, and they will be published quite soon.
Yeah,
so
in the background,
on Amazon.
In the background, I see Prosperity Factor by Joe Vitale, and you. Joe's a client, and so he's getting some extra billing right now, and I see your children's book as well.
Yes, it's in English. You can download it. Okay. I think you can even get it as a paperback.
Yeah, I love the background. Yeah, your background was very, very unique, and I think you have the most unique office chair I've ever seen. So congratulations. You win the office chair award.
My interior design breakout.
Right. Excellent. We'll see you folks next week. Okay, I'm going to close the broadcast now.